necessary. Thank you very much indeed, Mr Harper-Johnson. I now call on Graham Day to be followed by Stephanie Callaghan. Again, 4 minutes, Mr.
Presiding Officer, one of the facets of members' debates is the opportunity they provide for all of us to indulge in a little parochialism. I mention that not by way of criticism, far from it, not least of all because I'm going to focus my contribution on the Angus South constituency that I represent. Specifically, I want to note, not for the first time, the work of an organisation which over the approaching 11 years I've served in the Scottish Parliament. I've highlighted both in this place and via hosting visits to it by ministers, including Jamie Hepburn, and our former Presiding Officer, Tricia Marwick. I'm, of course, speaking about the Angus Training Group, which has been located in Arbroath for the past 56 years, during which time it has produced in excess of 2,000 engineering apprentices for a range of North East firms. This is a non-profit-making organisation supported by its member companies and Skills Development Scotland. Its role in the delivery of modern apprenticeships has been a constant during my tenure as a local MSP. That's not to say that it's not faced its challenges, because it has. But ATG has shown itself to be both nothing if not resilient and capable of adapting to the evolving nature of a changing world. Indeed, currently the organisation is engaged in a refresh of its offering in a number of areas, including robotics and automation. As I say, it has faced its challenges, especially following the oil price slump of a few years ago and then again from the pandemic. The Catherine Street Centre that the group operates from is capable of hosting 75 apprentices. On the back of the slump, it was training just 12 new starts. By 2017-18, that had bounced back a little to 23, and the following 2 years, numbers had climbed back into the mid-30s. But then came the pandemic, and an anticipated intake of 50+ translated into just 12 modern apprentices. Difficult times, but ATG secured a contract for 30 pathway apprentices, and they built back from there. Indeed, feedback from employers suggests that the upcoming intake could rise to 40 to 45 MAs. And at ATG are very... I did wonder which half of the Stadler and Waldorf double act would be getting to their feet, and I give way to Mr Waldorf.
Stephen Kerr.
Well, that's a compliment or not. I'm trying to work out which one was which in the Muppets, but I can't remember. Can I ask Graham Day, and welcome him to the speech, by the way, can I ask him whether he agrees that every penny of the apprenticeship levy raised in Scotland should be spent on apprenticeships?
Graham Day.
It is regrettable, Presiding Officer, that Mr Kerr spends his time in members' business, and he does this regularly, simply try to snipe at the government. I would invite him, as many of his colleagues have done, to actually fashion a speech, it's only 4 minutes after all, and make a more positive contribution to these occasions. Presiding Officer, ATG are very much proactive in seeking out the modern apprentices of tomorrow. Indeed, over the course of the last fortnight, their instructors have visited Carnoustie High School, Forfar Academy, Morgan Academy, and just today, Montrose Academy, seeking to entice local youngsters into an engineering career through the modern apprenticeship route. I hope that offers positive evidence that what the motion calls for around raising awareness of apprenticeship opportunities is already taking place in the engineering space, at least in Angus. But there is one area where ATG have continued to struggle, and that's in recruiting young women engineering MEAs. And on this International Women's Day, that's an issue we need to reflect upon. Over the past decade, I can think of just one occasion. Indeed, of course.
Pam Gosling.
Thank you for the intervention. Just on that, do you believe that basically the Scottish Government need to do much more to promote more females into male-dominated roles in line with International Women's Day today?
Graham Day.
There's no doubt that the Scottish Government has a part to play in this, but I would contend, and I think she would probably agree with this, it's wider than that. It is about the education system. It's about society, because this is a societal problem. The kind of fashioning of gender stereotypes, that's not a job for girls, is a big problem in our society, and we need to start tackling that collectively, I would say. As I said, Presiding Officer, I've chatted to some of the young women who have taken up the opportunity, although I can think of only one occasion where more than 2 female apprenticeships have been part of any one intake. There was a small cohort from Aberdeen who found their way to Arbroath via a programme run through, I think it was the college in Aberdeen, which actively encouraged female entry into engineering. But in the main, the female apprentices I've met had identified engineering as a career path purely through family links. I think this is something we should all give it should give us all of us food for thought. The engineering workforce of the future must be better gender balanced. Clearly, a great deal more work needs to be done to make that happen. I would be keen to hear from the Minister in summing up just what renewed attempts to address this long-standing issue are being made. But I reiterate, this is a societal issue. It's not about the Minister and it's not about the Government. But I don't want to wind up on a negative note, for there is overwhelmingly much to celebrate about the Modern Apprenticeship programme. Angus Training Group may be flag bearers in my neck of the woods, but they're not alone in Modern Apprenticeship delivery, and I'm pleased to see the numbers in Angus beginning to rise again, back to the kind of numbers they were pre-pandemic. Can I conclude, Presiding Officer, by thanking Pam Gozal for bringing forward this motion and allowing us to showcase the positive benefits of the Modern Apprenticeship programme Scotland-wide and in Angus South. Presiding Officer.